Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today is August 13th, 2023, and the news is brought to you by Smarter Every Day. Not in an economical way, but we were here in Alabama and we didn't have a studio to shoot the news. So Destin came in to save the day and let me record the news here. He's going to be with us for the news, and we'll see what is new in the analog world. So we're going to start with one piece of news that you are probably key to in a certain way is Kodak has announced that they're going to commit to making film as long as there is demand for film. Destin recently did a 3-part series on the Kodak manufacturing.
Yes.
You do content based mostly on engineering, so the behind the scenes of how it works. So you did 3. Would you mind explaining just 1, 2, and 3 what they were about?
Yeah, so the first video was about the backing of the film. Like, you've got the film, right? And so the back of this particular type is acetate, but Kodak makes S-Star as well, which is a basically a plastic backing. So the first video was about how they make that. The second video was how they do the light coating, the light sensitivity coating, and they do that with a laminar flow waterfall, which is a pretty big deal for me. I like laminar flow. Yeah. So that was a really cool coating. And then the third video is about how they cut it, they slit it, they punch the holes, they perforate it, and then they make this little can and they put the film in the can. So we did a 3-part series on that. And someone actually sent me this book, someone that worked at Kodak, and they details how they do it. I thought it was pretty interesting, but there's a lot of good pictures in it and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the series. Yeah,
if you enjoy film and you kind of don't understand how it's made and how complicated it is to replicate, because that's one thing we see here in the news a lot, is like, why doesn't somebody else make color film? You can watch that. I'm very jealous that you did it. I would have loved to do it, but I love that you did it as an engineer. But yeah, so Kodak has basically committed to making film as long as there's demand. That is good news because, as we know, you need 3 things for shooting. You need cameras, you need film, and you need developing. Cameras are coming back, and there's some more news that later. Film is still there and is not going anywhere. Yeah. And then we have the chemicals, which there's some good news and some bad news as always, but it's pretty important.
Yeah, I was impressed because the infrastructure required to make the film is incredibly complicated, and they seem to be training new, younger engineers, and I was really excited to see that.
Yeah, there's a generational shift, basically, which is good. Okay, so we'll get into the first piece of news apart from the Kodak. Ondu Cameras has finalized their Kickstarter for the 4x5 folding camera. That is good news. It'll be available sometime soon. Obviously, as Kickstarters happen, you have to kind of fulfill the first pre-orders and then it'll be available. But it's exciting to see that it's coming to life. It's a new semi-affordable 4x5 camera, basically a field camera, like the ones with bellows. Yeah. And it includes 4x5 and 4x10 with an exchangeable back, which makes one camera do 2 formats.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's for sheet film, which I guess you haven't shot yet.
No, is it plastic? Like is the body plastic or is it metal?
It's wood. It's made in, I'm going to get this wrong, Slovakia. I might be wrong. It's to the right of Italy. Huh? Slovenia. You was in the back from camera store. So they're making that. So it's really nice. It's affordable because large format cameras traditionally have been quite expensive. And then there's been some cheaper entry-level cameras that have been very popular. This goes in the middle, which I kind of like.
Are they making the lens as well?
No, lenses are complete. Nobody is making large format lenses. That's one of the problems. But the shutters are the biggest problem. Okay. But that goes into what I do at work, which is try to refurbish lenses and shutters. Yep. So that's news. Then on another new camera, we have the new Widelux. So the Widelux camera is a camera that actor, producer, director, I don't know how many things he's done, also photographer, Jeff Bridges loves. And it's a camera that the lens swivels or rotates in a movement. It doesn't have a shutter per se. It's kind of like a dark chamber, like the Indie Film Lab rotating door. Remember you did that video? Yeah. So it does something like that, and it exposes the negative in a curve, and it's kind of like panoramic, like an X-Pan. So this camera is long gone. It was made by a company called Panon, but Jeff Bridges and Silver Grain Classics have teamed together to bring back this camera to the market. Is this the camera that you put on a tripod and it swings around and exposes a strip of film? Correct. I've always wanted to see one of those. Does it have an electric motor that does, or is it mechanical? It's mechanical. Yes. So this is the reason it's probably easier to replicate nowadays, is because it has only mechanical speeds and mechanical movements. 3D printing. Has no no light meter, and it doesn't have a shutter. So it's kind of simple. It's just a drum that turns around.
Yeah.
So this is a project that's coming. It's on Silver Game Classics. You can read all about it. I've heard about it for a little while because I'm good friends with them. But this is exciting for those people that want a X-Band that is actually going to be made new. So you'll get those panoramic shots. Jeff Bridges has been doing some really cool stuff, is like shooting people from one angle and then moving the camera pretty quick and doing like angry and happy faces in the same negative, because you kind of can do that. But that's coming along. It's big news because it's another film camera that is coming to the market. Then we have Fuji Instax price increases, and also Fuji accepting orders or pre-orders for 35 and 120 film. If you're not aware, Fujifilm had canceled the orders for Japan a long time ago, a couple months ago. And
for Instax?
For normal 35 slides and color negative, and 120 color negative, and well, color negative they have none left for slides. So they have reopened the option. So I guess they found maybe the products they were needing, manufacturing, whatever it is. But also Instax, which is the top seller every year, has gone up to 13 to 88% increase. Obviously, it depends on the packages, if it's a 10-pack or a 20-pack or a 100-pack, but that is going up. So it's interesting to see that they're still committed to making this film, especially the 35 and 120, which is what I prefer. But it's so far in Japan, we don't really know what's happening in the rest of the world. But if you're holding your, hope that Fuji keeps making slides, this is a good sign. We'll see what evolves from there. Have you shot Fujifilm?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I've shot Fujifilm. Yeah.
Okay. Then we have, we've had news from Sino Promise, which is the chemical arm of Kodak. They bought out Kodak chemicals from Alaris, took them to China, having problems, no real information if they're bankrupt or not. But one of the chemicals that people love is D76. So Adox, a German manufacturer, has stepped into the game to make their own D76. So Adox now has a D76 powder chemical that uses their Captura chemistry, which is basically a technology which makes the dust not go volatile, like in the air. I don't know, airborne, I guess is the word.
Yep.
So it's easy to mix, and also mixes at a lower temperature. So you don't have to warm up the water so much. It's easier to mix, but it still is D76. D76 is probably the oldest, one of the oldest developing for black and white. And most films come always comparing how does it do with D76. So it's very important for people to have it. So now if you were one of the users, you can mix it yourself. The components are pretty well known. Probably even the formula might even be there. That's
what I was looking for that, yeah.
Everybody has been making it. I made it at home. But this is basically a product.
Made it at home?
I made it at home from the raw materials.
Like Breaking Bad style?
Yes. But you have to mix it the day before, which is very annoying when you're trying to develop and you have a family. You can't be mixing chemistry one day and then developing the next day.
So that'd be a good episode.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. Then we have Lomography with a new color negative film, ISO 400. They call it 92 film, like the year 92.
Okay.
It resembles a lot to the Orwell color film that's been coming. So I don't know if it's some sort of joint venture of them, but this is a 400 ISO 35mm film. I don't know if they're actually making it in different sizes. I would have to reference the...
It's not like Metropolis or the purple stuff, is it?
It's like... The color is like, I would say it's 90% there. Okay. It's not Portra.
Okay.
It's not Metropolis or, the purple.
But they're going for it.
I think they're really trying. My whole theory, this is my whole theory, I have no backing, is that they're really trying to replicate like a real color negative.
Okay.
But it's so complicated, as you've seen before.
Yes, that's crazy. Yeah.
That they haven't been able to replicate it. So they're making all these weird kind of like testing films that they can, because every iteration of Lomography film is slightly different.
Where are they doing this at? Do you know where it's physically being made?
This is the thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I have a big suspicion it's the same place that's doing Orwell film, which is based, if I'm not mistaken, in Germany.
Really?
Yeah, in Nova Scotia, which is also the one that's making the color negative receiving for Polaroid.
Okay.
But like I said, nobody wants to confirm this or deny it, so it's pretty interesting to see. But this film is available already.
That makes me wonder because, like, if you look at color film, like, there's so many different layers in there, and I wonder if this new film is like the same thing, but
less layers.
Less layers, yeah.
That's
like
basically what it should be.
I wonder if there's like one color they can't do, so they just take that layer out, and they're like, oh, we meant to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
But yeah, then we have a new 28mm lens for Voigtlander for the LTM mount and M mount. Are you aware what the LTM
No,
is?
I'm not.
So you know Leica made cameras, and then they made the M mount cameras. You know the camera I've been shooting around is an M camera.
Yeah.
So LTM is what they call Leica thread mount. It's M39 screw.
Yep.
And this is the first time we've had a new LTM lens from a major manufacturer coming back. So this is cross-compatible with M mount, so you can use an adapter. It's very simple.
So are these lenses used on modern digital cameras?
They can be used on like a M10 or M11, but it can also be used in all the old Leica cameras. Like the one you made the video on with the shutter.
Yeah.
That was a Barnack camera, which is biggest of Oscar Barnack.
Okay.
And they use a screw lens.
So new glass for old cameras.
Exactly. But also compatible for mirrorless, compatible for all of this stuff.
Okay.
So it's really nice because it covers the whole spectrum of new and old.
Okay.
Especially for the film shooters that love Barnacks because they're slightly smaller, so they're really nice. So there's a 28mm f2.8 color scope bar. I owned the 3.5, which was discontinued a long time ago, and now commands pretty hefty prices. So this is nice that they've kind of like made a new version, which will make mine cheaper, which I don't mind, but also make this one affordable and an option for everybody. Plus it's brand new, so it means no fungus, no haze, no problems.
Yeah, yeah.
So
new glass is good glass.
Yes. Good. Then we have non-Hasselblad Instax back. This is, for those people that missed the peel apart film, a lot of people have been trying to recreate a back that will work on medium format because the bigger the size of the negative or the image of the camera, the better for Instax. Obviously, you don't want to do 35. And Hasselblad has a problem where the distance from the film to where the
focal plane is off.
Yes. Is Instax cartridge is basically the thickness. So looks like Nons has been able to do this, and this product now comes that you can put it on a Hasselblad, no adapting of the focusing, so it maintains true focus.
That's cool.
This is really good. It's around $279. Obviously, I would wait to see a couple of reviews, see if it works okay, because the claim is pretty big. But it's cool because then you can shoot instant photos with your Hasselblad, including probably the one that you just inherited.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So then we have Ferrania P30 in 120. So Ferrania is the Italian manufacturer of black and white film. They have been doing the P30 and 35, and this is a brand new factory, brand new product.
What is this? This is I don't recognize any of those words.
Ferrania is an Italian manufacturer of film.
Okay.
And the P30 is a black and white film they've recreated from their original formula because they had formulas. They've been making film for probably hundreds, like 100 years, 80 years, but they went bankrupt. So they rescued the factory, and P30 is a big deal. The problem they had, as you saw in Kodak, is converting, which is finishing the film. So 35 they had basically dialed down, and now they've managed to do 120, which means medium format. What you would put on a Hasselblad, a Bronica, your Fuji GA645, and such. So this is a pretty big deal because now Ferrania is the smallest factory capable of doing both 35 and 120 film in-house.
That's awesome.
All of it. So there's some hope if something like Kodak decides to go out, we have something like Ferrania, apart from Ilford and other players. But that's pretty big news, and they're available. Obviously, they promised color film when they started, but we talked about how
hard to do,
it is. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then we have LLL Update, which is Light Lens Lab, another Leica M manufacturer based in China, with a 35, 1.4, and 75 f2 Pancro. Pancro are the Cooke lenses. Have you ever heard of the Cooke lenses?
No, I haven't.
Cinema. They're made in the UK, really famous.
Big ones?
Yeah, all the Hollywood movies and stuff. So they're trying to recreate those lenses for Leica M. So they have a really good blog. You can check it out, see if you're interested. The lenses are usually on the affordable side of Leica lenses, but they have that classic glow and classic look that a lot of the vintage stuff does. So that's available. I'll leave the link below. Then we have CatLABS coming out with color film in 120. So as you know, color film is not easy to make, but in 120 we've had only Kodak making color negative. So CatLABS is a store in Boston, basically Jamaican Plains. I think it's JP. I have to look it up, but they're good friends of the channel, and they managed to make color negative 120 film ISO 100.
C41?
C41.
Wow.
So this is, and it's pretty affordable. I think it lays around 14 to 15 bucks. Don't quote me on that, but this is really nice because it's another player, and it probably, we all know the color film is really not coming out of any other factory than Kodak, but still.
So are they actually making the film, or are they taking large stock and cutting it down and repackaging?
That's the kind of stuff that you usually don't get to hear from the manufacturer.
Okay.
And from experience in the industry, usually even if they let you do kind of like a white label, they won't let you source who it's from.
Okay.
So if I'm using someone else's stock, I can't be like, yeah, this is Ilford repackaged. You usually sign a contract and you can't say that. I'm not saying Ilford repackages anything. I can't say anything from any brand, but you know, color film.
You can figure it out.
Yeah, people are smart enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is there. And then we have the last news, which is Mint. Mint is a camera manufacturer based in Hong Kong that's been doing cameras for Polaroid mostly. So not for Polaroid the brand, but Polaroid users. They've made like an SX70 reamp, so they've changed the motherboard, so now it does like modern shutter speeds and so on. They made a TLR that shoots Instax film, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
They made a wide TLR, which is also very cool, but they're working on a 35mm point and shoot.
Okay.
But they went out and started finding modules for AF. As you know, autofocus is not a simple thing to do.
No.
But they found out that everybody's dropped traditional AF. So they have found that they can use LiDAR for this camera. LiDAR is something that, for example, your phone has and some iPads have, and I know DJI drones and some of these like follow focus things have.
Yeah.
It kind of like, it's like a sonar, well,
Time
you
of
probably
flight.
know what it is, like a sonar radar kind of thing that it
I
projects.
send a photon out, it hits something, I get a reflectance, and I get the time between when I sent it when it comes back, and that's the distance.
Exactly, just what I was going to say.
Yeah, yeah.
But LiDAR is a technology never used on film cameras, so they are very excited about it.
Yeah.
This camera is going to be pretty small. I have here like little DJI box, but it's like the Rolly 35S, so it's going to be this size. And inside is going to have a LiDAR AF.
Keep going.
Oh, yeah. The LiDAR AF is basically going to be pretty small and something completely new. They say that it works pretty well. They've also, in their update, given people the chance to vote on the finish of the leatherette. So they have like smaller leatherette and thicker leatherette you can choose from. But it's really nice to see Mint trying to push the envelope with his 35 point and shoot. Oh, you have it. Oh,
yeah, so you're saying LiDAR in a camera this big?
Correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, but so they're going to have internal electronics and boards and stuff to do that?
I guess so.
Okay.
They have their own shutter. It has the AF, so it has a little AF thing that goes. There's videos on their website. It's pretty hard to see their website. You have to put your email, so they actually, you know, it's like a filter, so people can't like SEO it. But yeah, this camera, the Mint 35, is pretty much on development, giving details little by little, creating some hype. But they're kind of small players in the film industry, at least in the roll film industry. So I like to think that they might be another one of the steps, because they've been creating cameras for a long time. Shutters that have central shutter, like so a copal shutter, like inside the lens. And I saw them at Photokina 2018 with Camera Rescue, and I was like, you guys just have to change the Polaroid on the back for film, like roll film. And we got a new film camera, and they were like, yeah, nobody wants that. It's like, you guys should study to do this. So I'm glad to see that they're doing it, and they're working on this camera with new technology, because it'll be kind of a game changer if it works well.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much the news for this week. As always, I leave a link to my email. You can, it's down here somewhere. And you can tell me if something you've seen that I might have missed. I haven't done the news in a couple weeks, maybe even months. But, you know, it's good to be here.
It's good when the news comes out.
Yeah.
Nico knows what's up.
Yeah. So we're here in Alabama. Thank you, Destin, so much for the space.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for working on the news remotely. You're in the field. I also have some news. Yeah. Nico went to a Buc-ee's for the first time, and he was telling me he was going to update you on the jerky situation in Alabama.
Jerky was really good. We really enjoyed Alabama and the jerky and the Buc-ee's. Never seen a gas station that big.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Thank you for coming, though. I've had a really good time with you here. We did a lot of stuff, and you've taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming to update me on all this stuff.
But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.